All right, hi everybody, it's 1 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and get started. My name's Carey. I'm the Director of Agent Services at the Keller Williams Tampa Properties Market Center. I see some agents from my office. I also see some agents that I don't know, so welcome. What we are going to be doing today is actually focusing on building your command website. So we're gonna start from scratch on that command website so that we can make sure that you've got everything up and running and you know what the full functionality is. Want to set some ground rules since this is a classroom, right? So we're doing this in a classroom setting. You would not just start talking while I was talking in a regular classroom. So I'm going to encourage you to use the chat feature and the raise hand feature. If you are on your computer and this is your first Zoom training, let me walk you through how to actually get to chat and to raise your hand. Depending upon how you have your screen set up, we may look like the Brady Bunch right now, or it may just be my face. If you put your mouse down at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a button that says Participants. Go ahead and click on that. Once you have that clicked, you're going to click the button right next to Participants at the bottom of your screen, which is Chat. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and click on that chat button and type your name in the chat window. This is how we are going to take attendance to get to your market center so that we can give you credit for being here. And it also just lets us make sure that the people who are on the call are who they are, because sometimes you log in with a different account and your name doesn't match. So go ahead and pop your name right into that chat box just so that we know who you are. And if at all possible, I'd love to have you connect your cameras. So that way when you're asking questions and we're interacting, it's more like a standard classroom style so that I can look you in the eye, right? So we've got a Gulfside and we've got a Palm Harbor and we've got a couple of Tampa Properties agents. Great. So what I'm going to do before I get started with sharing my screen and walking you through command is I'm going to send into the chat window a few files that you'll want to download. Depending upon how you want to do class with me today, you can either observe and go back in and do this later, or you can follow along and do it side by side with me. If you're going to do it side by side with me, I want to make sure that you have the materials that you need. So what I'm going to share in the chat box are going to be a few logos. Don't worry, Palm Harbor and Gulfside agents, I have logos for you too. I also know what your office addresses are, because my brain is sad and I remember things that I don't need to remember, but I don't know where my keys are. So I got you covered. So I'm going to have some logos for you. And I'm also going to have some walkthrough guides, because as we set up this agent site, there's going to be some areas where we need to put in custom text. So I've written some stuff up for you that you can tweak so that you can fill that in. And there's also a little walkthrough guide just to remind you how to get back to where we are. So you'll be able to download these things right from the chat box. So I'm just going to go ahead and pop those in there in just a moment. You'll see them come through. You'll just have to bear with me because the share feature in Zoom is incredibly rudimentary for some reason. All right. All right, some logos coming through. Now these logos that are coming through, you will notice they are labeled KWTP, KWG, and KWPH. What do you think those stand for? This is participatory. Okay, well, if nobody's going to answer, those are your market centers. KWTP is Tampa Properties, the G stands for Gulfside, and the PH stands for Palm Harbor. That way you know which logo to download. The next two files that I'm sending over will apply to everyone.
Amber.
All right. So everything is now shared, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. Can y'all see my screen? Everything good so far?
Yes.
Thumbs up? Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep asking throughout this training because we are on Zoom. Is everybody okay? Are you following along? Do you have any questions? Just that way I can make sure that everybody is where we are supposed to be. So if you have any questions, we can make sure we get them answered. And I can't see all of your faces all the time, especially when my screen is shared. So I can't see if you make that like really confused frowny face that sometimes people do when they're learning new stuff. So if you are stuck anywhere, just let me know. Make sure you use that raise hand feature and I will call on you as soon as I can. So we're going to dive right into setting up the agent site, and we are going to set up your command site through command. So remember, when you go to command, you always want to be doing this through a Google Chrome browser. If you use any other browser, you will run into errors, a lot of white space, a lot of bugs within the system. It was built for Google, so we need to make sure that we are using Google. Another pro tip, use an incognito window whenever you are working within command. This allows you to not store any of your data, so when you open up command, maybe just a touch slower than using a standard Google window, but this is going to bring up the most up-to-date version of command. And then we're just going to log in with our username and password. Now remember, if you want to follow along with me, when I share my screen, what happens by default is that you are going to have it go full screen for you. So if you just put your mouse right up at the top of the screen, you're going to see some options that with screen share that's going to allow you to exit full screen so that you can have Zoom open on one side and your browser open on one side by side, just to work through and follow. An incognito, Barbara, is just a window that does not store any data. So basically, it doesn't save your usernames or passwords, and it doesn't bring up anything you had saved before. So that way, when you go into command, because we do update it almost 100 times a week for little bugs, it brings the most updated stuff, so you aren't going to run into some of those issues. Alicia, regarding the files, if you went out of chat and came back in, it's a new user session, so it's not going to bring up any files for you. I can't actually screen share, or excuse me, file share while I have my screen shared. Can somebody else share with Alicia via chat the materials that I shared so that we can keep going? If all else fails, Alicia, I can email them to you after class. If you want to follow along now, you'll have them for afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and go right through in here, and we're looking for your agent sites. That's going to be the last clickable option down at the bottom left. It's going to say consumer. It's a little tricky. It doesn't actually say websites. It's going to tell you consumer, and that's because this button here controls your agent website, which is for consumers, and your mobile app, which is for consumers as well. So when you click on consumer, this is what it's going to look like. Now, mine may look a little bit different for you if you are following along. Yours may be completely blank, and that's okay. What you see by default is this landing pages tab. What this landing pages tab is basically any custom websites that I've made through here. Don't worry, we're not doing custom today, because what happens when we do custom on top of basic is we get scrambled egg brains, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that you can go through and get the process done and then start building on your knowledge later. You're also going to see some other options here. Agent site pages, which we'll go to in just a minute. A guide builder, which we are not going to touch today, but this works in conjunction with your consumer app. This is what allows your consumers to walk through the process with you via the app without you ever having to make a phone call. So there will be, excuse me, losing my English. For all of you, you should be able to see on ubaldinitraining.com, there is a consumer app class coming up, which will walk you through the guide builders and how the consumer app works. You're gonna have some customization settings, which is actually what we are going to do here in a minute, where you see site and app settings, and of course the create a new site button. So I'm going to click this Site and App Settings button right here. And what this button actually does is it pulls up everything that is set up for your agent site right now. I'm going to give you a quick run through of this. After you customize your site, you'll start to be able to come in here and play with it. What this exists for is so you don't have to go through the whole setup process every single time. Because if you had to go through the entire agent website setup process every time you want to do something as simple as updating a photo or changing your phone number or even doing a featured listing, it would be a big problem, and we don't want you to have to deal with that. So this is where everything shows up that has been previously set up. I want you to see this because when I open up my agent site, you're going to see that mine looks different than yours, and that's because it's already set up and it's already been customized. So you'll see on the general tab, this is what customizes your home page on your website. So general is the home page. You'll also see some information on the app, and if you have virtual tours for any of your listings, this will display right on the home page with your featured listings as well. The next tab is going to be incredibly helpful for you. How many of you forget your agent website all the time? Forget what it is? Just me then, great. How many of you could tell me right now what the code to download your consumer app is for your clients? So Scott says thumbs up. He knows his code by heart. You are the only one, sir, so you get a gold star today. So when we come over here to this URLs tab, that's going to help us find that information quickly. So you're going to see the first piece says domain settings. This is my agent website right here, amberlycarey.kw.com. Quick tip, it almost always matches your KW email unless you customize it. So my KW email is amberlycarey@kw.com. So by default, my website becomes amberlycarey.kw.com. Just swap that at with a period. Make sense to everybody? Nods, thumbs up, we good? Okay. And then right down here where it says app URL settings, notice your KW app URL shows up. This is the URL that you can share with your prospective clients. You can put it on social media, you can send it out via email. But this number here that starts with KW1 and then has a variety of characters and numbers afterwards is customized to each of you. So that way when somebody clicks on it and they download it, it shows my name on the app automatically. They don't have to do any extra work. Because here's what we know about those consumers. Are they going to do extra work? And we want to make it as easy and smooth as possible for them. So this URLs tab is always going to let you see what your website address is so that you don't forget and know exactly what your website URL, your mobile app URL is. The next tab over is going to be featured listings. Now this is a brand new tab, and there it is. It's going to say, as I've played with it, I get a little bit of bugs because this literally rolled out last week. So there's a lot of people going in here and testing this. What this tab does, and I'm going to hit this reload and see if it works out for me. If not, we'll just come back later and that's okay. Remember, anytime we put something new into command, sometimes it's just a little buggy because we got to find the problems. And here's how I want you to think about this. If you run into a bug in command, get excited because whatever is not working, when it starts working, is going to be amazing, right? I think anytime something breaks or has a quirk, I know they're putting something very cool in. So we'll try to come back in a little bit and see if this featured listings tab is open. What I'll do right now, though, is just give you an overview of it. What the featured listings tab allows you to do is put special listings on the home page of your website so that when people come to your website, when they type their name in and your name in and they go to your site and they start clicking around, your listings, whether they are specific to you, meaning you put them on the market, you are representing the sellers, they can show up there. Or if you're doing an open house for another agent or your sister is selling her house in Chicago, you can highlight those listings there as well, which is very cool. How many of you know we have nationwide IDX access? What that means for you, if you don't know what IDX is Internet Data Exchange. That is a fancy technology term. But really, it just means MLS listings. You have MLS listings from all over the country on your agent site. Every MLS in the United States you have access to. So you can feature listings from your own MLS, your own personal listings, open houses that you are hosting, or listings from around the country, and you don't have to do anything extra to have that feature. Theme we'll see when we start working through. Oh, let me just refresh my page. Maybe we're having a little error. It's always fun to teach a technology class and then run into a technology quirk, right? There we go, it's working. Okay. Always try refreshing. That usually will sort just about anything out. So your theme is just going to change the color scheme on your site. This isn't a super important thing to notice because you only get 2 and it's just going to change logos from either red to gray. So there's a little bit of branding opportunity here. And then the last thing you are going to see through here are going to be your site pages. I want you to take a look over here because these pieces are going to become important later. What you're going to see is a tab that says Keller Williams Tampa Properties, About Me, and Contact Us. These are the default pages associated with your agent site. That's what we're going to build today. You can, of course, add new custom pages and build out custom stuff with your website. We're not going to do that, guys. Remember, we're starting basic and then we'll build on that. So this is what the overview of the consumer section looks like. So once we have everything built out, we can easily come in here and start the customization process. Any questions so far before we go actually into building the site? And remember, you can unmute yourself or raise your hand or put it in chat if you need to. Are we good? We ready? Okay. Need your help, you guys. I can't keep going if I don't know if you're good. All right. Lynn, I'm sorry, Blair. Lynn, Blair, I'm sorry. I don't understand the question where you say, how do we get access? IDX access comes by default to your agent site. You don't have to do anything special to have access to it. All right, so what we're going to do now is actually build the site out. You are going to be looking for a button right up here that says Learn More with Kelly Guides. What's Kelly?
Isn't that like your assistant online or something, sort of like a Siri?
Kind of. Yep, that's a good way to describe it. Anybody else want to add to that?
It lets us know when people reach out and look at our site. It gathers their information for us as well.
That's a feature, absolutely. Kelly, in short, is our AI. So Kelly is the brain behind Command and how it works. So Kelly is the brain that's grabbing all of the data from things that you do and things that the company does and things that your consumers do, and it makes our system smarter. So the reason we call all of the setup guides inside of Command Kelly Guides is because Kelly has all of the data. So when you click Learn More with Kelly Guides, you're going to get 2 options here. We want to click on Agent Site since that's what we are setting up, and then we're simply going to click Continue. And then it's very, very complicated. We have a button that says Get Started. That's what we're looking for. And then this is just going to tell you that you have to adhere to compliance guidelines within your individual state. Now, all of you have access to FREC guidelines, and we must meet the Keller Williams Realty International guidelines as well, which we'll talk about. So just going to go ahead and click Acknowledge and Continue, and it's going to take us right in. Now, what we're going to do is work through steps 1, subdomain, all the way through what's next. Whenever you are working with a Kelly guide, you want to make sure that you get all the way over to the what's next option. It is always the last piece. If you do not get to what's next, it means you didn't go all the way through the process, which means you might lose some of your work. So you want to make sure you are working through here completely so that you don't lose any of your work. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at right here is where it's going to be subdomain. Pro tip as you are working through Kelly Guides, you're going to notice arrows next to pieces of information. Always make sure you are clicking on those arrows. Notice how it expands things that you need to see. So make sure you are clicking all of those arrows so that you can get all of your information properly customized. So on the right is where you'll customize things, and on the left is where you're going to see a preview of what it looks like. So right now, what you are seeing is a preview of my agent site. Everyone by default will get a photo that looks just like this in the background. Don't worry, that can be customized later. And you're going to have a search bar right in the middle. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be very, very simple. We have spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours interviewing and sharing and polling potential consumers on what they want to see. So this is going to be a very, very simple, easy to use. I'd almost plain homepage. And the reason for that is consumers said, they don't want to have to dig around for all your information. They don't want to have to look that hard to find what they need. At the end of the day, think about your agent site like this. It is designed for consumers to use, not for you to market. You want it to be user-friendly to the consumer. So it's going to be nice and simple, just like this. So the first thing that we're going to look at over here on the right for customization is going to be our domain. Remember, my domain is amberlycarey.kw.com. So you'll see that prefix right in here. It will default to what matches your KW email. You do not need to keep that. So if you do choose a different domain, you can simply type the domain in here. No special characters, and remember it's a website address, so no spaces, no dots, dashes, underscores, or spaces, no exclamation points or tildes, nothing like that. You're going to type the domain in here and hit claim domain. I'm not going to make any changes to mine, so I'm simply just going to hit confirm, and it's going to save my website. You can come in here and change the website address. Why would you need to change your website address at some point in the future?
Somebody else has the same name?
Somebody else may have the same name. They wouldn't be able to have the same website address, and they may have the same name. Once you claim it, it's yours. What about as you start to build your business? Maybe you have a team, or maybe you join a team. So, you know, let's say Lynn joins a team later, and right now her website address is lynnblair.kw.com, and she creates a team later, and it becomes the Blair Group. It would not be great for Lynn if she had to go out and build an entirely new website to send out to her clients and to her consumers and tell them to go to a whole new place. So they let you switch this out. So if at any point in the future you needed to change it, you could, even if it's just something as simple as coming in here and changing it to a married name, or on the other end, a divorce, right? Things happen in people's lives, so we need to modify around that. So once you've got your subdomain claimed, we're going to come down to marketing profile. Now this is crucial. If you do not fill this in, you will run out, of branded space. You will not have your name, phone number, anything in there. So you need to make sure that you have your marketing profile completed. Barbara, I am recording this class. To your question, we record all of our training in Tampa. I can make sure that Taylor Stratton has access to this, and she can get you a link so that you can watch later. So what we're going to do is we are going to work through this marketing profile information. Now notice that mine has populated already. I haven't had to come in here and type anything. How many of you have filled out your profile already in your settings? You've put your name, email, phone number. When you do that in advance, that's really step one of command, right? Is getting yourself set up and learning how to add contacts. When you get yourself set up in your profile, a lot of this information here will auto-populate. So you don't have to come in here and do double duty. We want to save you time, right? We want to give you the easy button. So we don't want you to have to go in everywhere and type your brokerage address 100 times just to set up 2 or 3 different things. So it's going to pull that data for you. As you're working through here, make sure you're paying attention to the red asterisks. Anywhere you see a red asterisk in command, that is going to be required data. Anything that does not have a red asterisk, you could leave blank should you choose. So obviously I'm going to put my legal name in there. My brokerage will automatically fill in because it's connected to the system. We put in the brokerage address. Now our Palm Harbor and our Gulfside agents, obviously yours isn't going to be Linebaugh Avenue, it's going to be Highway 19, and it's going to be West Bay Boulevard. So you're going to want to make sure that information is accurate for you. Now you'll notice where it says team or business name. If you are a single agent, you can absolutely leave this blank should you so choose. I choose to put my market center name in there because that is my business name. When you look at the preview over here, you'll see my name and headshot with my company information right there. That's just my preference. I think it looks good and it looks professional. Remember, it's not required. Your job title is required. What is your job title?
Realtor?
Realtor.
Realtor, yes. So you want to stick the realtor right in this professional job title area. Of course, your email and your phone numbers. Pay close attention to where it says exclude spaces or special characters. Don't put the dots, dashes, or parentheses in there. It will format it so that it's easy to read and easy to use. Just don't put anything in there, you'll get an error. You're also going to have a bio area. Now, I'm going to make an educated guess, unless they have changed something in here, that my complete bio, which isn't even really all that long, is still too many characters. So you will want to pay attention to that. When I come down and I try to save it, you may run into this as well. Agent license number, not required in the state of Florida, so you don't have to fill anything in. Remember, this is built for agents all over the Keller Williams platform, so in certain states, they do have to display their license number legally. It's a compliance requirement. What you do have to have, all of you, is the compliance and legal footer. This fills in from your profile, so if it's not in your profile, you want to make sure that you get this set up correctly so that it shows up on all of command for you. And it's each Keller Williams office or each Keller Williams Realty office is independently owned and operated. You want to make sure you have this in. This is a Keller Williams franchise requirement because each office is its own franchise, remember. Now you'll notice I filled in my Market Center license number for our broker and our Market Center number for Palm Harbor and for Gulfside. You do have a different broker number. Ginger Perkins has a different broker's license for each office. So you should be able to get that from your front desk or from your agent services. They'll have access to that. Now notice that I have blanks here where it says compliance and legal footer links and legal footer images. This also has to do with compliance in other states. Some of them have very, very long disclosures that they have to give to potential clients. In order to keep this nice and clean and not fuck it up and make it all ugly, they allow them to link it here. You don't actually have to worry about that part. Cindy, I do see that you are requesting the recording as well. I know that Taylor keeps a folder of these things, so I would imagine that she probably will just put it in the folder. If all else fails, I can make sure that Taylor has it and can get it to anyone who attended. So once I've got all of this information in here and everything looks correct and it's branded to me, I'm simply going to hit the save and continue button. They fixed the bio. I put my foot in my mouth. What can I say? So I guess you don't have to worry about the length of your bio. Good to know. You know what the great thing about teaching classes is? I learn all the updates. Well, I'm teaching you the updates. That's always fun. All right. And then the next thing we're going to come to once we hit save and continue is going to be step 2. You'll see now we got our bubble under step 2, style and theme. And this is how you are going to customize what your site looks like. Remember, I said you only really get 2 color schemes. They don't make a huge difference at the end of the day. It just affects the color of the logo and some of the buttons. So it'll change the button color. You get a red option or you get a dark gray option, and it's whatever works best for you. The real customization options come right here with this picture and what they call the homepage text, which is the text that sits above the search bar. Where the text is concerned, you want to keep it short. Remember, your agent sites, if you did not know this, are mobile optimized, which means somebody can look you up on their computer, on their tablet, or on their mobile device like their cell phone. So you want to keep it short because if it's too long, it's going to be on 2 lines, and when they look at it on their phone, it's going to look real ugly. It's going to overlap. It's not going to look nice and clean. So what this homepage text is going to be like a tagline, something you would put on your business card. Notice there's no red asterisk, so it's not required. You don't have to put anything in here. I like to keep it short and sweet and make sure there is a call to action in there. So are we all familiar with what a call to action is? Okay, a call to action, for those of you who don't know, is you giving an actionable item to someone, literally something to do. Call me, click here, find, visit, something that you actually want them to do. So I put a call to action right into my homepage text. Find your dream home with Keller Williams. It could be something as just as simple as your name or your team name. Whatever you'd like to put in here is your decision. Now, the next thing you're going to run into is what they call the hero image. The hero image is just a silly way of saying the picture on the homepage. Don't know why they call it a hero image. It's not winning any awards. I mean, it's not a purple heart over here. It's just a picture. So this is where you can customize it to make sure that it actually suits you. They will have pictures that show up automatically. What you will notice over here along the side, however, is that I have a picture already uploaded. So when someone comes to my site, I'm going to hit preview so you can see it. This is what it actually looks like. It's going to have a picture of the Tampa skyline, and it's going to say, find your dream home with KW. So it looks more like where I'm doing business, right? Now, for those of you who are at Gulfside, maybe you're close to the beach. A picture of the Tampa skyline probably doesn't apply to you, right? Maybe you do a specific kind of business. Maybe you represent a lot of luxury properties, or you do a lot of farm and ranch. You want to make sure the image here actually represents the area that you're serving or the kind of business that you do. So you can upload your own. They give you specific size parameters, 1200 by 1200 pixels, and you can do up to 5. Now, some of you probably have no idea where to go find pictures. I'm going to tell you where not to go, and then I'm going to tell you where to go. Is that fair? Don't go to Google. Those pictures have intellectual property rights attached to them. So absolutely, please do not go to Google Images and type in house in Florida and find a picture of a house that you like. You don't own the rights to that image. It belongs to the photographer. So you want to make sure that you avoid that completely. You have 2 options for where you can find the hero images. I'm going to show them both to you. One is going to be very, very simple. It is simply a stock photo site. It is called Pixabay, Pixabay, and these are free images that you can use. So I can come in here and type in the word house. And any of these pictures that are on this website, I can use on my site or in any of my marketing because the photographer says that I can. It's free to download. You can create an account. It doesn't cost you anything. They don't spam you with emails. The account exists for you to 1, upload your own images, or 2, to avoid clicking all those little captchas so that they don't say how many like posts are in this image, and there's 9 images and none of them have like posts, but they think they do, and it's a whole thing. So it allows you to just avoid all of those cookie issues. Barbara, I see your question. I'll get to it in just a second. The other place is going to be right in your designs. So we have created hero images for you through the Designs applet. So I'm just going to go to Designs, and it's going to be under Social. Then just bear with me whenever we screen share on Zoom. It does just slow the screen down just a little bit. So when your design templates open, you're going to have all of your options over here. You obviously have your app options, but you'll see pictures down here that you can absolutely move through. The one you want to look for under lead generation is going to be my website. Why are we looking under my website? Because we're looking for our website, which should make it nice and easy for you. And remember, over here on the right, based on your initial category, are going to be how you filter it. So you'll see my website and site hero images. Check that out. They've already got them customized. They've got them nice and pretty. Remember, anything inside of Designs is customizable as well. So if you like the format of some of these, but you don't want the picture of the woman reading the tablet, or you don't like the look of that house, you could upload your own pictures. Questions on that?
Yes. Where did you get yours?
I actually got mine off of Pixabay.
Okay, because I just looked. I didn't see that yours exactly. I'll
Now
look
remember,
again.
it's going to be based on search terms. So you can type anything from house to beach to palm tree to Florida to Tampa, whatever search terms that you are looking for to find something that matches, switch up your search terms. Just make sure when you're downloading it, it meets your recommended size of 1200 by 1200. You want to make sure the picture you download is bigger than that. The one from designs are already formatted to that specific size. Now, Barbara, to your question, I would see, for those of you who aren't in the chat, Barbara said she uploaded images 24 hours ago, but her daughter doesn't see them when she goes to the website. Barbara, what I would encourage you to do is check your website in an incognito window on your browser and have your daughter do the same. And if we have a little time at the end of class, I can help you troubleshoot that as well. Because remember, an incognito window is not going to store any data. So if she's been to your website before, it might be storing old data. So we just want to tweak that and make sure that you've got the freshest view. Any questions here on the homepage text and the homepage image before we move to the next step? Everybody good? All right. So remember, we're always looking for save and continue down here at the bottom. And I'm just going to go ahead and put Pixabay right in the chat so that you have that information there. All right. Now here's where we actually get to customization options. We want our website to be accurate to us and to the company we represent. Now, if you remember at the beginning of class, I was walking you through some of those tabs, and we looked at the pages that already exist. There were 3 of them. There was information about the company, information about me, and a contact me page. So what we are going to do is actually just customize those options so that they make sense for us. And remember, we're going to start at the top, and we're always looking to expand every arrow. So what you'll see here under navigation are those 3 pages that I mentioned. We're going to start customizing them based on the order they are currently in. Company profile, about me, and about us. This area for navigation does allow you to change that. Now remember, what you see here on the left is a preview of what the site looks like. You're going to have on your site a drop down. See where this says Royal Reactors, which is a really silly name for a company? This is what the first page would be. We can make it about me, or we can make it contact us. This is the time I'm going to pull up my agent site and actually start to show you what these customizations do. So you'll see right here, we should all be familiar with what this looks like right now. My big picture, right? My Find Your Dream Home homepage text, my search bar. Look right up here in the top corner. Notice it says Keller Williams Tampa Properties. That is because my company profile is in the first position. Are we tracking? Does that make sense to everybody? When I click on this arrow, I have the 2 other pages, About Me and Contact Us. I can change this order so that the first thing that shows up is About Me or Contact Us. Later down the road, if I choose to add custom pages to my site, meaning I build out brand new websites and I attach it here, I could also change that order. I'm going to leave it in the default order because that's how I want you to see it. If I did want to change it, I'm simply going to hover over it so I get that 4-way arrow, and I'm just going to click and drag. Painless, right? Nice and easy. Click and drag. So I've got my pages in navigation in the order that I want them. And I'm going to come down to search engine optimization because we are working through all of these arrows. Who can explain what search engine optimization is? Who thinks you got it?
Search engine optimization is where you put in terms to get your site seen more by different search engines.
Yeah, pretty close, yeah. So search engine optimization, and I'm actually going to open the document so that you can see it. This was what was shared in chat. Also, you have this to see what so that I don't have to type it all. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is shorthand for basically what website search engines like a Google, right? What they use to connect your website to what somebody is searching. So when they search real estate, your website matches and it shows up as a result. I want you to hear something very clearly. You are not going to end up on page 1 of Google. It's just not going to happen. I need you to get comfortable with that. The only way you're going to end up on page 1 of Google is if someone searches you by name or you spend a lot of money. We still need to put this in here though, because it does help bring you up higher. We don't want you on page 20, right? We'd rather have you on page 2 or 3. Here's why. Because people are going to go much more past page 2 or 3 when they do a search, right? We know that. How many of you go to Google, do a Google search, and the only things you click on are on the homepage? That's because Google's really smart and it knows what you're looking for. So all of these people who are searching the same thing that you are, they know these are the best results for you. So what we are going to fill in are going to be our page title and our slug, and then we're going to look at our SEO description. Now our page title is this right here. It's what the page is called. We are going to call it exactly what it is. This is our company profile. So we're going to put the information in about the company, right? I work at Keller Williams Tampa Properties. That's my page title. It's going to be different for you in the other market centers. Same concept, however. The next thing down is going to be a slug. And the slug's a really gross word for a website URL. Don't know why it's called a slug. Can't explain it to you. But a slug is basically everything after the initial website address. So if you look just underneath, you're going to see my website address here, amberlycarey.kw.com, and you see that little / and then about us. Everything after that / is called a slug. It's a custom URL. Now these are important because what we could do is just copy and paste this and send it to somebody if we wanted them to get somewhere specific. That way they don't have to go to our homepage and navigate themselves. Now, this isn't as specifically important when you're looking at company information, but when you're looking at things like custom pages you may create down the line, your mobile app, or even sharing specific listings from your websites with people, you want to make sure you know what slug you're looking for. Does that make sense to everybody before we fill in SEO description? I don't know if you're all frozen or not. I need thumbs. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to focus on here is this SEO description. Here's the nice thing about Command. We don't need you to be experts at everything, right? We just need you to get it set up once and go from there. So anytime you're working through Command, you'll see a little I. This is your info icon. So if you hover over it, it's going to tell you exactly what you're supposed to put in there. So I'm going to show you what SEO looks like so you know what we're filling in. So I'm just going to go to Google and I'm going to search Tampa real estate. Now, Google knows, based on what other people search, that these are the most popular links for people searching Tampa real estate. So when we come in here, we're looking for SEO description. That's the gray text under the link. So this is your link. Anything underneath it that's gray on Google is the SEO description. Right now, Google's preferred algorithm is going to be short descriptive sentences. It has previously been keywords or tags separated out by commas. So sometimes you'll be able to scroll through Google and see things like that, but mostly what you're going to see are short descriptive sentences. So you want to keep it nice and short, nice and easy. Inside of the guide that I shared with you, you're going to have search engine optimization fields. This is going to be a short descriptive sentence about my company, because this is our company profile, remember? Short descriptive sentences that are going to connect my website with what Google thinks is the right information. Now, this is going to apply to Palm Harbor and Gulfside as well. You can just change the name of the market center. Keller Williams Tampa Properties sells more homes than any other real estate company in the Tampa Bay area, specializing in residential and commercial real estate. Tampa Properties agents, does that sound like our office? That's our office. It's going to be similar for Palm Harbor and for Gulfside. So you have this document. It'll tell you text for search engine optimization on sections 2 and 3. It is just as easy as copying and pasting it right in the box. So you don't have to do any extra work on this unless you're not with our office and then you need to change the market center, because that's probably not helpful for you to say you work at Tampa Properties if you work out of Bel Air. So this is going to be your SEO description. All of this is background stuff. The next section that says content is going to be what the site actually looks like. So you'll see in here, you're going to get a description, an intro paragraph. You're going to get headlines and descriptions and pictures. You're going to get 2 sections of those. Now I put something in here as well for the Keller Williams Tampa Properties office and for Keller Williams Realty itself. Nice and painless, quick copy and paste. So you don't actually have to fill in anything with the intro paragraph. So I'm going to make it easy and I'm going to take it out. Now notice it doesn't look like anything's missing. Painless, right? Easy buttons. We need to make this easy for you. So what you'll do is you'll open your document here and you're going to match section 1 headline and section 1 paragraph. So if I'm putting information about Keller Williams Tampa Properties, then my headline, Keller Williams Tampa Properties. And then I've written some text that can simply be copied and pasted right in here. And this is going to be accurate once again for all of our offices. KWTP sells more home than any other real estate company in the Tampa Bay area, specializing in residential and commercial. Our agents consistently outpace other companies in the area with listings taken and sold. Where are we at? Listings taken and sold, closed units, and sales volume. We work hard and have fun with a strong culture of giving back to our community through philanthropic donations and hundreds of volunteer hours annually. Does that sound like a Keller Williams office to y'all? That's a pretty good description of who we are. So this is nice and painless for you to just copy and paste, and then the same thing is going to come down for Keller Williams Realty. I put a secondary section in here because it does give you 2. So since this is a company profile, I'm putting information in about our franchise, about the company that I work for, and then I'm putting information in here about Keller Williams International, the company that we all work for, regardless of which market center we're with. Recognized throughout the industry for its culture, training, profit sharing, and wealth building, and technology innovations, Keller Williams Realty is the #1 real estate company in the world in agent count, closed units, and sold volume. Is that the company you work for? Yes. We are proud of where we work, so we want to celebrate it. You got your copy and paste text options in here. The last 2 things that you need to note are going to be the images. Now you can put whatever pictures you want in here. I actually had this saved before and my website did not pull up the way that I wanted it to, which is okay. I may have cleared it out at some point. I don't know what I did. Up here where I had Tampa Properties, I just put in a picture of our building, a picture of where our office is located. You'll see an upload button and you just find it wherever you have it saved right on your hard drive. Remember where you can find images, Pixabay, and right inside of designs. You can go into any of those designs and use the clip art. So I'm just going to click on one of these just so you can see it work. It is, of course, not a picture of our office. It's a picture of what we use to promote our food drive for Red Day, and it's there. So you simply upload it from your hard drive, and you'll notice these little little squares in the corner. It's going to crop it. So if your picture is not 360 by 360, which is a perfect square, if it's not a perfect square, it lets you crop it so that it is, because we need it to fit in this space. And then we simply hit set image and it pops it right in there. Questions so far? Are we good on this? Do we like our easy buttons? How many of you don't like writing copy? That's most of you. I've seen your Facebook ads. You're welcome. So, easy buttons. We got this nice and easy for you. And then the last thing that you can customize over here on the content for the company profile is going to be a footer headline and a footer description. You know what I'm going to do? Just take it right out. You could put information in here about about your personal business, about where your company is located, about specific things to do with your office, maybe your market center lore. Notice it's really not required because this information automatically pops up. This just allows you to get a little more info in there. Cindy, I'm not sure I understand what your question is when you say you don't have it at CW. Could you expand on that for me, please? Cindy? Okay. If you can't get to audio, just go ahead and type it in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next step since we're all good. Everybody good here? Okay. So I'm simply going to hit continue. And now we're on our next page. Remember, the navigation is the order of the pages. So this is what we're working through. We started with company profile. Now we're down to about me. And the last thing we're going to do is contact us. Not going to change that. I'm going to leave it as default. I've got my search engine optimization in here. Look at what has pre-populated. Because I put it in at company profile, I don't have to type it in again when I get to my about me. So it's already populating for me. And then just contact. Now, because this is about me, is this not the easiest thing on the planet? We all know who we are, right? We know what our phone numbers are. We have our bios. We know what email address we want people to contact us through. This information is going to pull from that marketing profile. So as long as you have that filled in correctly, this will all auto-populate for you. So you don't have to do a lot of work in here. So my name, my title, my bio title, which is just about me, about my name. My bio populates, the contact, phone number, and email address. So this is all pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Questions on this before we move to the last page? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to come to the last page, which is the contact us. So this is what is going to connect your website users to your database. We love this button. There are contact me buttons all over your agent site. And what happens when someone puts their name, phone number, and email address in with any kind of message, they automatically go into your database. Cassie, where else did they come from? You said this already, so I know you know the answer. Where else?
From Carey app. Carey app.
Come through the Carey app, yes. So let's say Barbara went onto my website, she put her information in. I'm going to get a notification through my Carey app that I have a new contact on my website named Barbara, and I'm going to see it in my contacts, which I'll show you in just a few minutes. So you have the ability to customize the message box. That is it on these pages. So when we hit content over here, you'll be able to, actually, I'm inaccurate, you'll be able to customize this message right up here. I have filled in looking to buy or sell, interested in a career in real estate, leave a message below, and the message hint, which is this box right here. How can we help you today? For you as agents, some things you may want to think about, obviously looking to buy or sell, leave a message below. In your message hint, you may want to think about things like, please input the property address that you're interested in, or would you like to take a virtual tour of your favorite listing? Things that are going to prompt them to respond. Remember, we're looking for calls to action here. So anything that you want to fill in, looking to buy or sell, contact me today. Interested in the property value of your home, you can pop that right in that box. So you want to keep it just a couple of sentences. Don't make it too long, but make sure you're giving them something actionable that they can fill in there so they know what to ask you. Because if you put in a message box, they may not know what to write. Cindy, you're going to use that, the question that you're asking, you can use this same website text that was in the files. You would just need to change where it says Tampa Properties to the Keller Williams Realty or Keller Williams Palm Harbor office. So it's just tweaking it just a little bit. All right, any questions on customizing the contact us before we actually look at the functionality of the website and what happens when people play with it? Any questions? I just want you all to know that I need your feedback. Okay, so we're moving on. We're coming down to save and continue.
I have a quick question. I don't have that file you're pulling that from. That's my point.
Okay, so it was shared in the chat. I know that you came in a little bit late, so you won't be able to see anything that was shared prior. When my screen is not shared, I can share the files again. I just simply can't do it when my screen is on screen share.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know if it comes through the cell phones either, because I didn't get it either, Amber.
Yeah, the cell phones are a little wonky on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't get logged in the computer right now into the new app, so.
If y'all want to put your emails in the chat window as well, I can email the files. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't have access to email addresses for agents who aren't in our office. You're not on our roster. So if you fill that in, I can take care of that. All right, so we hit save and continue, and we got to what's next, right? So remember what I said at the beginning. As soon as you get to what's next, it means you're done with your Kelly guide. Does anyone notice something funny on this page? Your site will automatically launch on October 1st. I see Barbara, she's muted, but she's holding up that October 1st finger. Your site will automatically launch on October 1st. You do not have to pay attention to that. That's something that they have just not tweaked since quite frankly, it's probably a low-rung priority in terms of the things that they're updating. This says October 1st because in September 2019, when the KW agent site Kelly Guide became available, they wanted agents to know that the sites would not launch until October 1st, 2019. We are obviously in June 1st, 2020. We are long past October 1st. You do not have to worry about your agent site not being active until October. That would just be plain silly. As soon as you create your agent site and you move through this Kelly Guide, it's active. So anyone can go to your site and click on it and view it. So don't worry about that October 1st. It's already done. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to navigate over to my site because I want you to see what happens when consumers actually use it. One, you need to know what they're looking at, right? You need to see what they see. So if they are having an issue with your site or they want information about how to use your site, you know how to do that. Two, you need to know where to look to know who's using your site because we have all of this data. And if we don't use the data, what's the point? So I have actually created a dummy account for my agent site. So I'm just going to log into it. Now this is a pretend account as if I were a consumer. You can absolutely do this if you want to. It's just not required. I just want you to see it. And I think that's the password I picked. Otherwise, we're in trouble. We'll be putting somebody else in as a guinea pig. But it looks like it worked. Perfect. All right. Take a look up here now at the top right, and you're going to notice some differences. Now it has initials in the corner. The initials are assigned to the account. So the account name is Amberly Carey, so the initials are AC. Here are those pages that we customized. They're here. I can click on any of them. So my consumers could click on them and they'd see exactly what we saw. That's what my site looked like before. We went to that Kelly Guide. It was blank. Weird things happened. I told you, I'm not here to figure out the ghost in the machine. I'm just here to tell you it exists. So here's what I had initially put in there, the exact same text. I just had a couple of different pictures. So this person could absolutely toggle through and move through. You're going to see a feed option when the person is in a transaction with you. They'll absolutely be able to come in here and share information. This works between co-buyers so that they can share listings with each other. So if you have a more primary relationship, let's say with a wife, and they're more readily available during the day, maybe they work from home so they can pick up phone calls and read emails, versus maybe a husband who works an office job and he's not allowed to have a cell phone on his desk. They can share listings right here so that they can see it. They can create collections, so based on individual communities or based on property types. So maybe they really want houses with pools, so they create a collection called, so they can see all that. The big power is adding the buyers in here so that they can communicate and share listings between each other, which you can see, and the saved searches. The cool thing about this feed option as well is you get to communicate this way. So it basically creates a group chat through your website and your consumer app. Because remember, the two work in conjunction. They're really paired well together. So they'll be able to chat with you via the consumer app or the website. Here's that guide piece that I mentioned when we were talking about the consumer app. Because the two are paired so closely together, your consumers will actually be able to start seeing the guide here. And this has to do with your opportunities and moving them through the pipeline. So make sure you hop into that mobile app class so that you can learn how to customize this and what all of this does. And then the last piece over here is going to be saved searches and favorite listings. So the consumer can absolutely do this. But remember, the big power is in the search here. So you'll see some searches that have been saved by this consumer. Notice the search options in the search bar: city, neighborhood, address, school district, and zip code. How many of you have ever worked with buyers who say, I need to be in Steinbrenner, right? People buy homes based on where their children go to school. It happens every day. So this is a very, very easy way for them to come in here and actually search for school districts or search for specific zip codes. Remember, we are exclusively paired with nextdoor.com as well, which means we can come in here and search for neighborhoods. I've got my friend Charles on the phone, so I'm going to do West Chase because I know that's his farm area. So you'll see in here as I type in Charles, it's going to bring up cities and it's going to bring up individual neighborhoods that are defined by nextdoor.com. So when the consumer comes in and they search West Chase, this is what it looks like. Now, what will populate will look somewhat familiar to you if you have done any of the neighborhood nurtures, if you've put people on those smart plans. But as I search West Chase, it's going to bring up any listings in West Chase that can then be filtered by price, bed and bath, property type, if it's a short sale or if it's active, pendings, bathrooms, and a few more search terms like square footage, lot size, year built, etc. They can search. Here are two big pieces that they can't do on places like Realtor or the evil Z word. They can search by keyword. So they can come in here and say, here's all the parameters that I want, but I need a water view or I need a pool. They can actually type those words in there and it's going to pull the IDX feed. And here's the other big one, price reduced. So when you set someone up on an auto search through somewhere like the MLS, it's going to pull what matches for them at the time, right? So they're going to get an auto email that says, hey, this property came on the market, it matches your search terms. If when the property goes on the market, it's 20 grand higher than what they had in their budget and then had a price reduction, MLS doesn't send them the price reduction. It only goes based off of initial listing price. So they can absolutely come in here and see price reduction as well. So see new things that match their budgetary constraints. And they can save any search that they're doing. I'm going to open up a couple of listings for a very specific purpose. And a cool thing that y'all can do here just for pro tips is if you zoom in on this map a little bit, you'll be able to see all of these individual listings. My thing's just going a little slow, you can see. Still trying to find those listings. It's delightful. All right, so you'll see that my zooming in allows them to look at just specific streets so they can see homes that are listed on specific streets. And now look up here. You see up here, just by zooming in, I can see more neighborhood lines. Here's the cool part. How many of you have seen the neighborhood snaps either through Kelly or through the neighborhood nurture? They can see neighborhood snaps on your agent site as well. You do have to zoom in to be able to get to those neighborhood markers. I'm just going to click on West Chase right here. I'm going to highlight it. And now look what I've got up top. Average days on market, sale price, and square footage. And if I hit this Explore button, something happens at some point. All right, here's that neighborhood nurture. So I'll see all of the actual numbers, the hard numbers for those people. I'll see what locals say, which is defined by Nextdoor. It says a little bit about the neighborhood, the walkability, some more numbers here, transit and commute times within the neighborhood, nearby schools right down to student-teacher ratio, which is huge, and anywhere within the neighborhood line that there is a Yelp review based on these specific categories. And then you'll see homes for sale within those neighborhood guidelines and nearby homes. So maybe they're looking in this specific neighborhood and they're priced out. It's going to show them neighborhoods nearby that have things for sale that might be in a better price point for them. So it's really quite cool. When they click on a listing, accidentally hovered over my chat and screen share option. There we go. When they click on a listing itself, this is what it looks like. You'll see an Ask Your Agent. This is a chat button. This comes to you directly through Kelly. I'm going to go ahead and save this to my favorites so you can see what that looks like. All of the pictures, the property description. You'll have a Keller Mortgage and Keller Covered quote option right here, and a scheduled tour button. If there's an open house, it's going to show as well, and any price trends. They can schedule a tour directly from here. You'll get a Kelly notification that says, you know, Amberly Carey wants to see this listing in person or via Facebook Messenger at one of these times. So it'll go right to your database and right to Kelly through your phone, and you can then call that person and say, hey, I am available Thursday at 2 o'clock. Let's Facebook message Greenpoint Drive. Does that work for you? So that way you can respond immediately, because what do you always have in your hand? And don't tell me you don't, because I'll call you a liar. The first thing you touch when you wake up, and it's the last thing you touch when you go to sleep. So it's going to come to you right through your phone. As long as I have my phone open, I'm going to show you something. As I scroll it open, I've got about 400 notifications here. You may not be able to make that out very clearly, but do you see, I got a notification immediately from Kelly that said, Amberly Carey logged into your site. As soon as I hit that login button, I get a notification from Kelly. It would be just as instantaneous as if I scheduled a tour. So I'm going to come here. I'm just going to hit save on this one as well. I'm going to show you one more thing before we go to the database, just because I want you to see it. Who did not grow up in the city of Tampa or the surrounding areas? All right, Scott, your hand was up first. Where did you grow up?
Philadelphia.
You grew up in Philadelphia. Scott, I'm going to guess that you probably have family or friends in the city of brotherly love, huh?
No longer.
Okay, well, you at some point.
All in New Jersey.
They're all in New Jersey. Well, at some point they were in Philadelphia. We're going to pretend they still are. So let's say he's got a friend or family member in Philadelphia who's looking to sell. Scott could absolutely come to his site from the Palm Harbor office that he works from and search the city of Philadelphia on this agent site and share this site with his friends in Philly or his friends in Jersey, where they all moved. And they can see what's available, where they're looking. This is an exceptional referral opportunity for you, because if you have friends or family outside of the area, they can use your website to find live, accurate listings, and they contact you to get information about those properties so that you can then contact the agents, the closest Keller Williams agent, right, who can represent them in a buy or sell side. That is cool. That is worth the price of admission. So I can come in here and I can look at any of these Philadelphia listings, and then I can contact my realtor, Scott, and say, hey, this would be a really good one for you, Scott. I want to put an offer on 1843 North 6th Street, this $1 million property over here with the cool purple windows. Can you help me do that? And Scott's going to be able to set up a buyer's agent in the Philadelphia area and earn a referral opportunity. So it's a great opportunity for you to get a little more income. Share this with everybody you know, not just your locals. Lynn, to your question, she asked, for those of you who don't have chat open, when someone sets up a time to see a location, how much leeway do you have, 24 hours, et cetera, et cetera. Those times are estimate times based on what they want. Remember, if you're not the listing agent, you still have to have the listing agent's approval on time. So those are best times for the client that you can work around. All right, so now we've seen the consumer side of all this. Any questions on the site before we go to the database and then we put a bow on it? All right, so I'm gonna come over to my database. Here's the cool thing, as I mentioned already, if the person has not used your site before and they create an account, whether it be through your consumer app or your agent website, they automatically go into your database. If they have already created an account, they'll get that notification that says, you know, Amber has logged in. It'll just take a second to get my database to load up here. All right. And now I know who I'm looking for. I'm going to pull myself up because obviously I know the person that was on there. I want to show you how you can see who was active on your site. The whole point of having all this data is knowing who's using it, right? So you want to make sure that you have the ability to see who last visited your site. This is a custom column on your database that you can filter from no visits or most current visit. Check that out. It says Amberly Carey was on your site 13 minutes ago. Is this not a great way to start your day when you're doing your lead generation and follow-up? I could see this tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. when I sit down to do my lead gen. I'm going to sort through last visited and I'm going to see that Amber was on my site yesterday. And I'm going to give her a call. And I'm going to say, hey, I noticed that you were using my agent site. You saved a couple of properties. Is there anything that you wanted to go see? Maybe she hasn't told me that she's actually ready to buy, but she's been on my site every day. Is that a worthwhile conversation? If somebody's looky-looing every day, they're probably more serious than they realize. It allows you to stay in relationship with people. So make sure that you use this last visited column. It's incredibly helpful. Yes, Barbara, it is just this column right here. It should show up by default for you. Just click on it. If you accidentally click twice, just click it again until you see the most recent populate at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and click right on Amber. I have no idea why it says my name is Amber Lily Carey. I've got nothing. Weird things happen. I synced it to Google. It's a whole thing. So you'll notice here, because this person is in the database, I now see all of the contact information and all of the activity that this person has done. I can see the last times they logged into the agent site or the consumer app. I can see the listings that they're viewing. If I click on the listing, it actually opens it up in KWLS. So I could see exactly what they're looking at. So if they tell me that their budget is between $450 and $550 and everything they're looking at is $650, is that a conversation? Yes. They're looking outside of their price range, right? We need to put them on a better search. So I can actually see where people are active in here and I can call them. If a virtual tour was scheduled, it would also show in here that said Amber Lee scheduled a virtual tour. So I would know exactly what was going on with my contact at all time. Remember, Kelly gives you all of this information as well. So when you open Kelly, see here, when you open Kelly, you'll have your notification options. I'm just waiting for it to load. Because remember, Kelly is command mobile. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and look for my most updated in here. She's having a moment. Of course she is. It's fine. All right, so when you come into home, what will happen is it's going to show you your most recent contacts right up at the top and the last visited as well. So you'll actually be able to see this data through command just like this, or through Kelly on your phone, so that way you don't have to log into the system and you get the information automatically. That's cool, right? Don't tell me if it's not cool because you're wrong. It's cool. This is cool stuff. This is power. This is data for your consumer right there. It's super user-friendly, super easy to use for them, and it gives you all of the information that you need to make sure that you are having appropriate client relationships and appropriate conversations with your clients. Do y'all have any questions about this?
I actually have a quick question, Amber.
Sure.
where you, on the site where you put in it, on yours it says KW Tampa Properties.
Uh-huh.
I have that, but for some reason it on my website it shows like half of that. I cannot get the whole image in there. So
Can you do me a favor and send me a screenshot of what you're seeing?
okay, I'll do that.
That'll help me troubleshoot it a little better.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to put those files back in chat just in case you want to grab them now. As I am doing this, I want to hear 2 ahas from you, from people on this call who learned something. Tell me what you learned. Listen, I know you learned something.
I have a website again.
That's a good one.
I didn't realize that it used SEO as much as it did.
Mm-hmm. All right, so for some reason it's telling me network disconnect when I'm trying to send the website text. So if you popped your email in there, I'll go ahead and send it that way. I'm going to try one more time. Not sure why it's sending the site guide and not the website text, but I wash my hands of it. Any other comments, questions, or concerns before I let y'all go for the afternoon?
I was able to download it from that posting, Amber, so I'm not sure why you were getting that. It actually came up for me.
Oh, great. Cool. I'm glad you found it. Scott, to your question, if you're looking for testimonials, you're welcome, Charles. I am teaching a landing page class. Let me see. You guys see I have 1,000 bajillion things going on my desktop here, so just bear with me. I can tell you the exact day that we are teaching landing pages. Let me see. I am teaching landing pages, listing landing pages on the 19th at 11. If we have some time in there, I could show you how to do a customized testimonial. Kevin, you were the Palm Harbor office, right? You were the Palm Harbor guy. Kevin should absolutely be able to show you that as well. If you don't want to wait that long, get a little bit quicker. It only takes about 5 minutes. So Kevin should be able to help you, and Andrew Hicks absolutely could as well on any of his drop-in tech Q&As Wednesday to Friday.
Okay, because I actually set up the landing page to source the testimonials, but I need where do I find them once they respond with them, and that's where I'm hung up.
So they're going to feed in actually right through the page that you create. So in your in your agent site pages that you've created.
Except I don't have it on the agent site, nor do I want it on the agent site. I just want to send it to prior clients and have them respond. I don't necessarily want them to sort through my site to find it.
Got it. So you want to figure out how to get the link to that. Is that what I'm understanding?
Once they reply, then where do I find what they replied
When
with?
they fill that message in, it actually shows up right in here under the site and app settings with the pages. So when you do site pages over here, if you had a testimonial, when you click on it, all of that information will start feeding down from the bottom.
Okay. That's
Any
it.
other questions?
I don't see that Word document that you were working from, Amber. So is that the one that you're saying you're going to email afterwards? Okay.
Yeah, it's the one that's just being a little funky. And I'm
Okay.
not sure why. I've tried to share it about 6 times. It just keeps saying network connection failed. Not sure why. So I'll email that out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, concerns before we go? All right, thank you for your time. I appreciate you being here. If you need anything, feel free to give me a shout. I will make sure that this gets over to Taylor for those of you who are in the Gulfside office who requested a recorded copy. I'll make sure you get that.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you very
welcome. Have a
much.
good day, y'all. Thanks for being here.